Hey, hold up, hold up. Can we double back that? Oh, Senku. What an elegant hall. Jesus! At least whine us before you dine us. God damn. Throughout the seasons and years watching Dr. Stone, one of the biggest highlights has been Chrome, a character who you think would be nothing more than a lackey, following a man like Senku who teaches him the way of science. But over the seasons, there's been these moments of excellence where you really believe, had he been given the same education, the same opportunities from the beginning, and rather than having to just collect stones and learn things by himself prior to Senku waking up, in theory, there's arguments to be made that he could have been on par or potentially even surpassing Senku. And while I do think at the end of the day, as a whole, he's still in a different league of his own, it doesn't change the fact there are moments with Chrome where he overpowers and actually does something more exceptional than Senku. And while true, what he comes up with in terms of a way to get Senku back home isn't something that has never been done before, and I think in doing so, it's actually why it's more believable. The concept of a rocket in pieces, because ultimately making something that large, couple decades, few decades potentially, having him go the route of being like, this idea to me makes sense, and Senku being like, yeah, actually NASA did something similar, we just, it's so out there we didn't even consider it, because there's the amount of parts needed. You need humanity as a whole in order to pull this off. There's more risk, there's more everything. It just makes more sense to sacrifice ourselves and hope that decades later, centuries later, someone comes and rescues us. The fact that this man put his all, the fact that two characters put their all, someone who's naturally had that Senku level brain and another who has shown promise when she was the entire reason humanity got saved, it brings a goddamn tear to your face. These two characters think inside the box in terms of what a scientist would naturally do given their formal training and their experience. But a character who naturally has that curiosity, and I remember, I think it was season 2, maybe late season 1, when Senki used to talk about how, like, damn, like, if only you would have grown up around me, like, who would have imagined where you would have been before I met you, right? The thing about Chrome and this dynamic is that it's always been this master-student relationship. And these are the types of moments where you're truly happy the main character has failed, that he's been defeated. In a way, you could argue that by defeating the main character, you kind of save the entire series. Because I'm completely fine if they have to be Stone up there, and we leave it open-ended, not knowing if he ever makes a return home. But I'm equally okay if the final panel of this series is just seeing the rocket return home. You don't actually even see it land, you just see it return home. There's a lot of uncertainty of where they want to go, but it's bold. And I think while there's definitely arguments to be made throughout watching the show, the pacing has been a lot more fast. And sometimes, even as someone who understands why it's faster, I wish that maybe we did have an extra core just so we could see more things happen. This is an episode where I think the pacing, I think most people will come out happy. From going from satellite to next satellite to seeing the multiple tests, like there's one time where you see multiple months go by on the calendar, showing them try multiple variations of their rocket. I'm satisfied with it. It's not the most emotional moment of the season, nor do I think it's the most emotional moment, period, of Dr. Stone, but it's something that throughout this show, I think something that most people have really liked is watching Chrome overpower Senku. Not to the point that he puts him in a headlock and he's now the captain, but just enough to have him say, God damn it. All right, you got me. I was wrong. It's weird, right? Because usually it's like, okay, Senku's like, yeah, all right. You're right, bro. But then when you have Zeno, man, considering where we were at in the previous core with him, this is the type of guy who'd be like, fuck you all, but he's like, fuck. Senku, your little prodigy over here, I understand. I kind of wish I had the prodigy on my side when we were trying to kill each other. It's just fucking brilliant. Not to mention, we do obviously have the satellites now, and we've actually examined two things that are important. One, the geography of Earth. We now know exactly how land has moved since everything has happened. We have good ideas of where we can do different farmlands and minerals and stuff. It's just very good to have this information, because before we were getting most of our long-term viewpoints from hot air balloons, which can only take you so far. Now we have a bird's eye view of the entire Earth. And that's very beneficial, especially if we're going to utilize essentially everyone that's awake, more people that will probably have to wake up to make this a reality. And it's very nice to see what they're doing here. The big one is we actually have a lead on Whyman. Now, it's hard to say what the hell they saw because it really did just feel like something's moving. It's not normal moon shenanigans. That's probably what's going on. Now, I still think we're going to run into some sort of AI robotic bullshit. Now, something typically has to make it in order for it to happen, but especially after the whole AI poker thing, like I talked about last week, that's my money and I'm sticking to it. Most likely something somewhere eventually made it, and now they are a thing that tries to, for whatever reason, preserve. And they believe because their programming has evolved to do that. The big thing will be is if it truly is just some base on the moon. Is it just an AI data center that we got to shut down? Is there really going to be something that we have to confront? We don't know, right? I mean, yes, the Medusa allows for essentially immortality. So it's not impossible to say that something on the moon could still be alive that started this. But I think given the weird lack of communication and all we really have had is do you want to die, which obviously could be posed as a question of, okay, I'm confused, we petrified you, we thought that's good, but now you're back, like what's going on, boss man? That could be a machine not knowing, and because of the distance between them, they can't properly evolve. All spitballing still, but that's where my mind's at. At this point, let's just fucking bomb the moon is best, recommendation. Obviously, we need the moon, but, we could do a controlled explosion, surely. But, Senku's always wanted to fly in space anyway, so this is a good excuse to get humanity to work with him so he can go, to the moon, so... all's well that ends well, I suppose. Either way, though, this was a really great episode of Dr. Stone. I love it. It's fucking fantastic. It's just such an exceptionally well done show, and I'm so thankful it's been as consistent as it's been. Literally, one of my things that I highlighted with season 1 back in the day was just how much I loved how it looked. I thought it was a very unique looking show given what other anime were being released at the time. And with every passing season, the fact that I can go back and pick any episode from any season and do that for all 4 seasons and feel like it feels like the same production line. It doesn't feel like it was a shift in studios or because that's what happens so often. Even the changes in very small, you're like, okay, it's only been a couple years, but I noticed the character models look different. Not here. Yeah, is this a Demon Slayer Sakuga Fest? No, but what it is a consistent full adaptation, which you don't get to say enough of. And that's I'm very appreciative of. You let me know your thoughts, though, down below on this week's episode. How did you feel a student fully surpassing master in this moment? I fucking loved it. But your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like, share your support, subscribe, ring that bell. And of course, my Patreon, we do the full live reactions over there to all these episodes. Definitely want to catch those if you love my analysis, because we do it even more over there. Hey, if you're already over on my Patreon, I'll give you a video shout out too, because my patrons will make these types of YouTube videos even possible. Alright, so today we got Powoof, Ale, Blizzard, Kamozo Beat, Konako1110, Ari Hakakushi. We got Damp, because I'm not going to say the rest of this. Kenneth Dade Schrodner, and we also have Wayne Eldequist. So I appreciate the support. Please take care. Have a good one.